Isn't it weird how only when you finally decide to put your foot down, that's when people want to start taking action? Only when you're pushed to your final limit to where you can't take it anymore, to where you're actually taking an action and taking a stand for yourself, that's when people want to react and start treating you with respect, start saying sorry. Why is it that it took for me to lose my for you to become a person that is respectful? Why did it take for me to start acting differently? For you to start treating me like I'm a human being? Isn't it weird how it always has to go to the extreme for a little change to happen with so many people?
How are you going to succeed on your journey to becoming the best version of you if you're always allowing yourself to be put down and disrespected and just tolerated and never really accepted and highlighted as the person that you are? Being disrespected is a disservice to you. Because someone has history with you in your life does not mean that they have authority in your life. Seniority does not equal authority. And understanding this will save you a lot of trouble and a lot of hurt on your journey to becoming the best version of you. Once you really grasp the fact that seniority does not equal authority, you'll better understand how to navigate on your journey to becoming who you are. Once you better understand that just because someone has history in your life, that doesn't mean that it's a free pass to disrespect you or to put you down. Your relationships will start to get better. How you choose people, how you select people to be in your circle, or to even be around for short periods of time will just improve, which means the quality of your life will improve. Seniority does not equal authority. If you're a person that has been disrespected, put down, or just misunderstood, you're going to want to stay around for this.
Today, I want to talk about friendships and really relationships as a whole. Why is it the case that we're so stern with some people? We're so upfront with what we want and what we don't want. And with other people, it just seems that they could walk all over us, do and say anything to us. And we have a special place in our hearts and in our minds that makes us believe that this is not disrespect or this is not as bad as it seems it is. Is it seniority? Is it because you've known someone for more than 5 or 10 years, that gives them permission to do something that is out of line? When you think about it, and the more you think about it, is the less that it makes sense. Let's hypothetically say this is like a job. You're at your first job. Your job is to bag groceries. It's your first job. You're working the hardest. You're doing the most. You're bagging the fastest. You're super friendly with all the clients. Everything is great. Let's say you stay at that job 3-4 years. After staying at that job for 4 years, wouldn't you know the environment better? Wouldn't you understand the workforce more? Wouldn't you have a greater knowledge of what the things that you should and should not do are? Wouldn't you be more sensitive to what happens in your environment because you've been there for so long? The more seniority you have in a place is the more you should be responsible, is the more you should be accountable. Yet in our own lives, the more seniority somebody has in our lives is the more they're able to disrespect us, to put us down, to make us feel unworthy, to ignore us. Make it make sense.
Don't you find that sometimes it's as if only after the line has been crossed do people realize that there was a line in the first place? Why is it the case that you had to push me to my limit in order for you to understand that you're not supposed to push me to my limit? And this is what we're explaining with this example of your first job at the grocery store. The more you work at a place is the more you know the rules and the more you know what you should and should not do. Let's say if you just got there, you could say, okay, well, I didn't know that we're supposed to put the cereal in this aisle. I didn't know that the water bottles go in this aisle. Okay, fair, granted. But after working there for so long, you know exactly what to do, what not to do. You know exactly how much permissions you do have and the permissions you don't have. So how come this applies to everything else in life? But when it comes to relationships, the more that you know somebody is, the more that they could cross the line with you. Make it make sense. Leave it down in the comment section. I need an explanation.
Now, if it's not seniority, we may be thinking, oh, it's the love I have for them. But in the same way, if you love someone and that person loves you, why would they make it a point to disrespect you? If someone has so much love, care, admiration for who you are, why is it the case that they're the first person to demean you? Why is it the case that they're the first persons to ignore you, to make you feel lesser than, to not celebrate you, to make you barely feel accepted? It's because you love them? The more you think about it is the more that it doesn't make sense. So now we've assessed it can't be seniority, because the more we know someone, or the more seniority someone has in a field, is the more accountable and the more responsible they would become. It can't be that it's the love that you have for the person that makes you think it's okay for them to disrespect you. Even saying that out loud doesn't make any sense. So what is it? Why is it the case that certain people could treat you in a certain way and others can't? This is where you come to realize that maybe you haven't really adapted to the person that you want to be. Maybe you've been saying that you want to be a person, yet the reality of that situation has never come to pass. Maybe you've had a friend for so long, and the first time you met that person, it appeared to be a positive interaction. So you kept that person around, and you just categorize them in your head as, that is good person. Maybe it's time to reassess, rethink, and restructure the categories that you put in your mind. Maybe it's time we come to the realization that we're living life like we have blinders on our eyes and running in a straight line like a horse and just expecting everything around us to be fine. We've put people in categories, and because we can't bother rethinking about it, or we can't bother getting hurt, we can't bother with the stress that it may cause, we just assume that people are just gonna stay in their categories. Oh, this person is my friend. They wouldn't do that. Oh, this person is my family member. They for sure have positive intentions for me. Oh, this is how work is supposed to be, so they couldn't possibly be doing something wrong. They couldn't be trying to violate me purposely. Probably just an accident, and we just brush it off.
Seems like the longer we know somebody is the more they're allowed to get a pass for certain things. So we don't like, for example, when people touch our faces and then all of a sudden someone get close enough to us and they can put their hands all up in our face. We don't like when people touch our stuff or take things from us that we never gave them permission to take. But as soon as we know somebody for a little bit of a while, they get all the permissions. Like, I don't understand. Why does the familiarity lead to disrespect? Not because someone knows you for a long time should they cross your boundaries. Not because someone has a closer relationship with you should it mean that you should be demeaned or disrespected. That doesn't mean that your feelings should not be accounted for just because they know you for a long time.
Maybe it's time you rethink the categories you put in your mind. For most of us, it's become like we're living on autopilot. But really look at yourself in the mirror and really assess the things going on around you. Is it really the case that that person is really your friend? When was the last time you felt disrespected? Was it really from some stranger? Or was it from someone close to you? When was the last time you felt good about yourself? Excited, motivated, strengthened? Did that come from someone you consider to be a best friend? Or was it a stranger that made you feel that way? Maybe it's time to recategorize. Maybe it's time to rethink and reshape what is going on around you so that you can have the life that you dream of, so that you can express fluently the reality that you've always known that you can have, the reality that you probably think that you have right now. But because you haven't been paying attention, all of this nonsense is in your life. You're waking up every morning and you're living your life with hindrances. The people that you speak to, you're not even excited to speak to them. The people that you are around, the friends that you claim that you have, you feel weird around them. You never felt comfortable around your family for the longest time, but you're always around them. Is this the life you're living? Rather, is this the life that you're supposed to be living? A small moment of reflection, of reassessment, of rethinking can help you categorize or recategorize these elements of your life so that you could take action towards going closer to them or going farther from them. Because no, it's not normal that you have to lose your mind and get raging mad for some type of respect to be shown. It's not normal that you have to have it to the last straw before someone is able to show you some type of respect. It's not true that you have to scream and shout and go ballistic before someone could stop bothering you or treating you in a way that you don't want to be treated. That is not normal. That is not okay. And that could be the case for most of us. It's just we have categorized certain people in certain ways. We've categorized certain situations in certain ways, and we just accept the reality that comes with it without ever questioning it. So for most of us, it's just questioning that reality. But for some of us, it's the fear of being alone. Some of us, we're like, well, this is the friends that we have. Some people have it worse. Oh, this is just Thomas. This is how Thomas acts. Oh, he's just like this sometimes. This is how Stacy is. She just insults me here and there, makes me feel like I'm less of a human. Oh, that's good old Stacy. Some of us are afraid to be alone. Some of us are afraid to accept that we're only around certain people because we don't want to be left alone. We don't want to accept that these people are that negative, because if we do accept that these people are non-conducive to a great life, then we also have to accept that we have to let them go. Then we also need to accept that a life going forward with them is not a good life. Without them is the only reality that makes sense. If we accept that, it's scary. If we accept that, it's darkness. It's the unknown. And a lot of us are afraid of that. But the important thing to realize is that we should be more afraid of where that type of relationship can go, rather than holding on to a fear of being alone. Because at least when you're alone, you know what's going to happen. You're in control of it. But when you're around people that don't want the best for you, or negative people, you have no idea where that's going to take you. You have to always be walking around with a guard up because you're always not sure. Not only is that risky, but it's terrifying because it's at the cost of your sanity. You have to walk around always being concerned of what someone has, of what intentions the person's closest to you have. You always have to be double thinking and triple thinking because you don't know if anyone even considered you when they invited you to a place, when they told you about a certain thing, when they wanted to introduce you to someone or something. You don't know what their intentions were. So that just multiplies this negative reality. If there's anything to fear, it's that behemoth of a reality that's just taking up so much space, rather than the space that you would take up by just being alone. Even when you're alone, you're by yourself. You're beside yourself. You have the opportunity to speak to yourself, to encourage yourself. You have the ability to introduce yourself to new ways. You have the ability to teach yourself new habits. You have the ability to introduce yourself to new information. Information that could change the way you act. Information that could change the way you speak. Information that could change the way you see the world. And with a broadened perspective, you're going to be able to be a light that others are going to see, that others are going to be attracted to. And it all starts with letting go of that fear of being alone. So first, it's accepting that maybe you have put people in categories and these categories are no longer serving you. And second, it's overcoming the fear of being alone. And once we do these two things, we can live a better life around people that care for us, around environments that give us light, that makes us feel like being alive, that makes us feel energized, that encourages us to do more and be more, as opposed to putting us down. Let go of those categories in your mind. Start paying attention to what you're going through and who you're going through what with. Start to accept that the fear of creating a negative world is amplified 100-fold around negative people. So allowing that in your life is what can destroy you.
We put people in categories in our lives, and after having these categories set up, we, for lack of better terms, become lazy, and we refuse to revisit these certain categories. And because we don't revisit these certain categories, it ends up biting us in the butt. Think of this like a computer, right? You have these systems and they're supposed to be running fine, but you never do the update. And because you never do the updates, your computer ends up slowing down, your system ends up crashing, and then you start to ask yourself, okay, why is this happening? Without realizing that you have not revisited these systems in such a long time. You haven't revisited these categories in such a long time. How are they supposed to still serve you if you've never put them up to date? If you never press update, how is it supposed to update? You're the one that is in control. We make these categories in our minds of people and we just leave them as is. It's almost as if we expect for them not to change. So we just think that, oh, well, I put that there, it's going to stay there. But that's not how life works. People change, situations change, environments change. And because of that, your life and the way that you see your life also needs to change. Now back to the video.
Maybe it's time for you to rethink who you are and what you have tolerated for so long. Maybe it's time to look yourself in the mirror and accept that maybe you made the wrong choices with the people that you're around, the places that you stay, the situations that you're a part of. Maybe you've made a mistake. But today is a new day. Today you can look at yourself and tell yourself, I can be different. I can be more. Sometimes it's not about knowing the direction that you're going in life. It's about letting go of the things that are non-conducive to what you believe is a positive life. Because just like a hot air balloon, no matter how sturdy the hot air balloon is, no matter how perfectly it's built, no matter how much the flame is ravaging and it's supposed to take flight, if it has too many things that it is attached to, it's never going to float. So sometimes it's not about if the hot air balloon can float. It's about assessing why it's not floating and letting go of those things. And the more you let go, the more you throw it out, so the more that you realize, wow, you're taking flight. You're floating. You're in the sky. It's time for you to live. It's time for you to live right now. It's not time to be a part of negativity, encourage negative people, because that's essentially what we're doing. We're putting energy in negative people. But what is the outcome of that? You're putting energy into things that are not alive. What do you expect? Life? Watering a dead plant, the plant is still dead. No matter how much more water you put in it, no matter how much sun you give it, the seed is bad. So the same energy that you have, nothing different. You just got to put it into something else. The same energy you are using into someone that's negative is the same energy that you could be using in someone that's going to give you something positive. So let this be a reminder that seniority and love does not mean that you have to tolerate disparaging realities. Let this be a reminder that maybe it's time to recategorize the people in your life. Maybe it's time to reassess why you even put them in that category in the first place. Maybe it's time for you to start living a life that is true to you.
There are certain people in your life that should not be there. And the only way to take them out of your life is to make an assessment and realize that they're there in the first place. Think about, when was the last time you made that assessment? When was the last time you really thought about the friends in your life, the energy that you feel when you're around them versus when you're not around them? Then you can detach from people that never deserve the place in your life in the first place. I know it's not always easy to let people go, but at a certain point you start to understand how necessary it is. What does your life become when the person that you lean on, you can't really lean on them? What is a life where the person that you love doesn't really see you in that way? You're living an illusion because you're the only one that believes in the life that you think is happening, no one else. Make that assessment and give yourself your life back.
Seniority does not equal authority. Not because someone knows you for a longer period of time do they have the right to disrespect you, mistreat you, or make you feel like you're lesser than. Seniority never equals authority. Someone that you meet tomorrow, somebody that you've known for 1 week, could be a better person for your life than a person that you've known for 5 years. Somebody that has been close to you for decades can be a person that is less good for you than a person that you've known for 1 week. Seniority does not equal authority. And we need to start putting into question the people that we have in our environment. Not because they've been around for a long period of time that they're good people for our lives. Life is long, and some of your greatest days have yet to happen. But first, you need to make the distinction between good people in your lives and bad people in your lives. You need to understand and categorize these people, or recategorize these people, and eliminate the fear of being alone. Because when you can get over that, you can get over anything, because it's you taking back control of your life, you taking back ownership of the environment that is making you who you are. Seniority does not mean authority, which means that it could be the case that you may have been walking around on your journey in life with a thorn in your foot. Now you've been walking around with this thorn in your foot for so long that you think it's normal. But when you realize that there has been a thorn in your foot for so long, imagine the feeling of relief of taking that thorn out. That thorn can be a friend that is not really a friend and probably has not been a friend for a very long time. That thorn could be an environment that you think is good for you because you have not reevaluated it for a very long time. Check your foot. You probably got a thorn in there. Take it out and live the life that you are supposed to live. Walk the journey that you were destined for. Not because you can walk with a thorn in your foot, and not because you have been walking with that thorn in your foot for so long doesn't mean that it's okay. Just because you've accepted it for so long in your life, that doesn't mean you need to keep accepting it. It's okay to let things go. It's okay to let people go. It's okay to let situations go. Because if someone else's comfort is going to cost you your peace, you know that that's the wrong person for you. Seniority does not, has not, and will never equal authority in your life on your journey to becoming the best version of you. Hello, Howell family. I wouldn't say I'm back, but I'm kind of back. If this message resonates with you, please like, comment, subscribe. I'm elated to be speaking to you today. I'm elated to be sharing this message with you today. It's something that really touches me, something that has affected me, and something that I know affects you or has affected you in your lifetime. Thank you so much for listening to this video or watching this video. I appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing day. Until next time.